That's my best friend. That's my best friend.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Dave Mo. Dave Mo Flips Money Talk. Team Us 100% every day, all day. If you're new to this channel is basically, the meat and potatoes of it is about flipping cars. Really and truly at its core, it's really about trying to teach you guys a little bit about financial education and changing your mindset with how you look at money. In today's video, we're going to be talking about wholesalers. Is there money left in wholesaling? And if there is, how do we do it, right? So again, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, ring that. Look, I like when I put my thumbs up and I say hit that subscribe button. You can tell I'm not a YouTuber, man. Let me get some water and we're going to get right into this. So wholesaling. Let's talk about it. In the state of Florida, where I reside, you don't need a wholesaler's license. Once you have your retail license, and I believe this is going to hold true to every state, once you have your retail dealer's license, you can wholesale. So the question is, why would you get a wholesale license versus a retail license? Because of the amount of money it takes. In Florida, though, we can open up car dealerships in strip malls. We can open up car dealerships at warehouses. So technically speaking, my repair shop, well, it's not even my repair shop, Leroy's repair shop, okay, he pays $850 a month now. And it's 1,600 square feet. So when I went there, I quickly did a calculation and we're able to fit about 6 cars on an angle. So you'd back them in, right? And then on a diagonal, you would park it. And then you would back it in and you would diagonally park it. And we could fit 6 of them in there comfortably. We could probably do 8 uncomfortably, which means when you open the door, you're kind of squeezing yourself into it, right? So you don't want that. Now, in states that say you need a certain amount of spots to have a retail car dealership versus a warehouse situation for wholesale, those states, an individual may be more inclined to say, hey, I'm going to open up a wholesale dealership because it's less overhead, less money out of pocket up front. The biggest drawback is you cannot, under any circumstances, sell to retail. You can't sell to anyone. Family members, you can't sell to your brother, your aunt, your uncle, nobody, okay? The workaround here is, and yes, there is a workaround, okay? So let me give it to you. The workaround is you go and you find a car dealership that's nearby where your wholesale lot is, okay? And you work out a deal with them and say, hey, if you allow me to sell my cars through your dealership, I'll give you X amount of dollars. Find out if they have a dealer's fee first. You'll just simply say, I'll pay your dealer fee. It's all money to them. And the way that you'll want to work this out on paper for their benefit is they will 1099 you, or they'll write you a check for the exact dollar amount that you sold the car for. So this way they're not on the book, they're not being held up for anything. So even if you received cash, and this is kind of crazy, you'll still want to get a check from them or Zelle. So this way it helps them with their taxes. I know it's hard because you're giving cash, unless you tell them, hey, 1099 me at the end of the year, you can print out all your sales and that's how you can do it. Make sure your books match their books, etc., etc. That's a whole nother video in of itself. But that's the reason why you'll hear some people having wholesale lots over retail lots. And like I said, here in Florida, I can get that warehouse. They just don't have any available for $850 a month and have 6 cars there. That, by the way, is my plan. My plan, again, a little bit off topic. My plan is to keep my dollar menu cars where they are now with me being a rep for this guy. And by the way, when that happens, I won't be a rep for him anymore. I already worked out a deal where the cars that are there, the dollar menu cars, I'll simply pay the $200 per car, which I already pay anyway. It just comes out from the buyer. So I made that deal. I won't pay my monthly anymore. I'm going to have my own spot, right, that I'll be able to have 6 to 10 cars at. And they're going to be, I don't want to say use the word high end, but they're going to be a little bit nicer cars that I'll be able to finance. Okay. So with that being said, I'll kind of have two dealerships, right? A nicer one that I take care of and I nurture and I make sure I don't get negative feedback and everything I sell is perfect. And then I'll have the dollar menu type cars, which unfortunately when you're dealing with dollar menu cars, they're never really going to be perfect. That's just the truth of the matter, okay? But wholesale. So you're in the wholesale game and you want to learn how to make money. Number one, is it worth it right now? Yes. Everything is worth it right now. Nothing has changed but the year. That is it. Prices gone up, so your prices go up. Prices go down, the retail prices go down. It's just like the real estate market, just like stocks. It's a roller coaster. And the people that can't handle it, they got to get off the ride, which is better for us because the ones that can handle it, we stay here and we make money. All right? So let's talk about this for a second. What you'll want to do is ideally, let's talk about buying the cars. You really, because I hate this saying so much, all the money is made when you buy the cars. Wow, there's a crazy concept, right? So you have a few options. I think this one's the hardest. Buying from the auction, selling at the auction. I personally believe that is probably one of the hardest things to do, okay? So what I suggest you do, and this is what I like to do, okay? I target a certain type of vehicle. The vehicle I like to target has a blown engine or a blown motor, okay? They're above dismantling, but they're below wholesale, okay? So what I'll do, and I'll look at the mileage, I'll look at the car, and I'll make sure everything is good there, but it needs a motor or a transmission. I'll buy it for a very low price, significantly under MMR. So I'm going to use MMR here as kind of the go-by, okay? I'm going to use MMR as that. Even though right now I'm not really looking at MMR because the market is so volatile with cars, MMR is kind of out the window in my opinion. But for argument's sake, let's just use it now. So when I'm looking at these cars, let's just say the TRA sale or Copart or IAI, right? I'm not looking at the crash cars, I'm looking at cars that have bad motors. Mechanically, they're messed up. All right. I use an app called car-part.com. That's where I'll get my parts from. And I use Labor Guide. That's where I know how much labor I'm going to pay for the car. All right. To get the engine or transmission put in. So I'll look at it and I'll do all my calculations. I call it homework before the sale even begins. Like a day or two before, I'm already getting ready. I'm getting my list together and I know the highest dollar amount I could put on that car. Like my all-in number is here. And I am very strict. Once I hit that all-in number, I don't care if someone outbids me by $50. I'm not going to outbid them by another 50 because now I went 100 above my all-in number. As a wholesaler, you need to live and die by your numbers, okay? So, you buy said vehicle, all right? You get it repaired. It runs and drives nicely. You got it detailed. It's good. You went through everything. You have two choices now. Now you have a car that you're into for less than MMR. So now you can potentially run that car back through the auction. Personally, I'm not using any auction anymore other than ACV. They come out to the lot, they take the pictures, you get to know the representative of ACV a lot better, you build a relationship there. You figure out what you want to make. As a wholesaler, you got to remember that you're not retailing it. So your dollar amount is going to be a lot less than if you retailed it. On the upside, you're turning and burning cars. And you're not dealing with people not showing up. You're not dealing with tire kickers. And you're not dealing with lowball offers, okay? At least you're not dealing with lowball offers in your face. So you're continuing to do this, okay? And to me, that's perfect. You got a team together, you're in and out with cars, and that's great. For instance, I have a 2013 Cadillac ATS with like 140 on the clock. I'll make a video for you guys. I think I'm all in on that car right now for just under $5,000. Okay, and I did a motor and transmission on that car. All right. So again, Try to find a 2013 Cadillac ATS running and driving with any amount of miles on it, okay, for under $5,000. I believe you're going to be hard pressed. Now, let's use that car as an example. I know that car is going to go for anywhere from, say, $8,000 to $10,000 on the retail side of things, okay? So I can take a bunch of really nice photos of the car, and I can, and again, this is, you can run it through the auction and make some money on it, right? But even at $5,000, I don't know how much I'll make. Maybe I'll just run it through the auction just to see. But, all right, so whatever. So you run it through the auction. Let's get off that. So you run it through the auction, you make whatever you're going to make, and you're done with it, okay? The other option is you get an email list. So this is going to take a little bit of time. Every time you see an ad for a dealership, chances are there'll be a website. If you go to their website, it'll have a contact me or contact us, and on there it'll have their email address. While you're on their website, look at their inventory, okay? See what it is they like to sell. If they're a dollar menu type person, let's not send them actually scratch all that, because that's just dumb. I could give a damn about all that nonsense. The truth of the matter is, the way I do it, because I'm going to keep it real with you, here's how I do it. I have an email list that I actually had gotten from Silent Auction a long time ago, that in order to sign up for this silent auction, you had to give your email. So I had an email list for every car dealer out here, everyone, and all their reps. So that means even though I was a rep of this car dealership, when I went there personally, I had to give my email address, not the dealership's. So that means if anyone in this area was buying and selling cars from this auction, I had their email address. Let's not get into how I came across it. A couple nice gestures got me the list. We're all happy, okay? So, and let's get back to that. So you build your email list, okay? You take a bunch of pictures of the car. You either have Carfax or you go on Facebook to a car group and you pay someone $5 to run a Carfax for you. What I'll do is I'll put all the pictures in there, or I'll put my best 8 pictures. Depending on what email service you use will determine how many pictures you can send through email. You can also have a website where you could put your cars up. It's similar to a retail one, but it's not retail. So don't get caught up with the retail. All right. And you can have the car there. So you can send a couple of pictures to everyone on your email list with the Carfax report. Okay. And any other little things you want to add about the car and the price. Here's something that I would get into, a habit I would get into right from the beginning, especially when dealing with car dealers. Keep in mind, we already went over buying from the auction. We're now talking about selling to car dealers as a car dealership, okay? Because you can only do those two things. You can only sell at the auction or sell to a car dealer. And the thing I mentioned in the beginning, on paper, you're actually selling it to the car dealer and the car dealer is selling it to your customer. Totally legal, because on paper, you're selling your car as a wholesaler to the car dealership that's then taking that car and selling it to the retail customer. So that's the kind of workaround that you can do if you don't have a retail license. But we already covered that by only bringing it up again because I don't want to confuse anyone. So with what I'm saying now, so you send out this email, it's got the Carfax, it's got a couple pictures, it's got the website that's got 100 pictures, okay? And then what you do is tell them that you're not going to negotiate, and don't negotiate. Be fair with the price because they need to make money, okay? So let's just say I'm into this car for $5,000. I know the retail for $8,000 to $10,000, and I'm like, look, I want $6,500 for this car. And someone says, I'll give you $6,000 for it. As a wholesaler, you're going to be doing business with these dealers for as long as you're doing wholesale. So anything you do now will later on become a habit. So if you get into the habit of allowing dealers to make offers on your vehicles, they're going to make offers on your vehicles forever. Dealers, for the most part, are scumbags. I really don't like dealers. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think I've ever said I like dealers. I said it from my first video. Okay? So they're going to always make you offers. But if you create a habit from the beginning where I don't accept offers, I know my price is fair as a wholesale price. I've done my homework. I know what MMR is. I'm under MMR. I know this car runs and drives great. I know you could it's already frontline ready. It's already detailed. It's clean as fuck. As clean as it can be. It's ready to go. There's no reason why you can't be happy on the low end making $1,500 on this car. Okay? That means that they're selling it on the low end, which is $8,000. They give you 65, they sell it for 8, they made 15. But if they sell it on the high end for 9 or 10, they've just made $3,500, okay? Which is over 50% ROI. So, you know all these things if you've done your homework and you're fair. So that is something that I don't negotiate with dealers. I don't. And if you make me bring a car to you and you start nitpicking and all this other nonsense, I just remove you from my list, or I just make a note that this guy's a scumbag. Okay? So the next time I show up, this friendly person you have in front of you really doesn't want to do business with you. I'm here because you might buy the car, but I'm going to tell you about yourself. Either you're going to give me cash, because now I'm not even accepting a check from you, or you're going to just you don't want to do business with me and I don't want to do business with you. So let's save ourselves the time and the headache and walk away from each other, because it's not going to end well for either one of us, okay? Because I don't conduct myself like that. Like, I don't do business like that. And that's the end of the story. No harm, no foul. If they're going to waste your time and do all this other shit anyway, then you don't want to do business with them. There's a lot of other dealers that are actually on the level and willing to do business with you, all right? So that's another thing I would do. So then they go to the website, they can see all the pictures, and I would give them the photos, actually. And if you're really good with photos, maybe you can watermark or Photoshop, after they buy the car, their logo into the pictures, right? So now it's an added bonus that you do for them, right? Even though it takes you a little bit of time, it's a really nice customizable aspect of your wholesaling ability, okay? So with that being said, you're cutting yourself away from every other wholesaler that just drops off a car and says, oh, good luck to you. You're having the dealer do less work, okay? So that's another way that you could do it. I believe we went over all three ways pretty good. I mean, like I said, the first one is you could buy the car and retail it through a dealer. I guess you could do that. That's, whatever that is. You can run it through the auction, which is pretty straightforward, right? You're going to get whatever the highest bid is and negotiate from there. Or you can start a dealer's list and just email all the dealers like marketing does. And it's got all the information with hopefully a website that's got 100 photos. The more photos, the better for your car. If you include a video, even better. All right. So we went over the ways to get rid of a car. Again, is there money here? Absolutely. But the money comes from your knowledge. I really believe as a wholesaler, a lot of people can tell you that you should be a wholesaler first. I'm going to tell you should be a retail car dealer first. With retail car dealing, there's a bigger area for mess ups. So you could pay more for the car at the auction and sell it for more as retail, because that gap is greater, as to where if you learned as a wholesaler first, that profit margin is so small that you run a higher risk of losing money if you don't know your shit, okay? So with that being said, keep in mind, you need to do your homework. Let's get into homework, okay? Figure out what car dealers are financing cars, okay? So now you're in the game, you're selling cars, you want to know that rebuilt titles, reconstructed, all that nonsense for a car dealer that's going to be financing the car, that's out for them. Most of them are not going to mess with that car. So let's get that out. Structural damage, it brings down the check. So instead of bringing down the check, now again, we're thinning the amount of cars you can buy from, right? We're funneling it down. Up here, this is your dollar menu guy. They'll buy anything. They're not financing anything. They don't care. Down here, right? That's your financing guys. So they can deal with so many cars because banks are cutting them a check. The less that shows up on their Carfax, the better, or whatever it is that they use. And again, you'll find out. So Rebuilt titles for the financing guys, out. Structural damage makes the check less, out. Odometer rollback, discrepancy, out. Okay, so now you're a wholesaler that deals with clean title cars, clean Carfax cars. Okay, you can still buy them the way I do with blown engines, just the probability is a lot less. But a good thing is, because you're dealing with financing guys, they're probably dealing with a higher dollar amount car, right? So again, this comes down to your budget, how well or how you're handling your money. So now at the auction, instead of looking at these under $7,000 cars, you might be looking at these over $20,000 cars or over $15,000 cars, right? That has this incredible markup. Now you're looking at them and you're going there, you're test driving those cars. You're not doing engines and motors in them. While you still can do that, you're not, right? So you're going there, you're looking at them. You're like, okay, yeah, this one's great. It's clean. It pictures well. I know MMR on this car is, $20,000. Maybe I could get out of here at 16. This is the third or fourth time it's run. No one's really bidding on it. You're also going to auctions so in Tampa, Florida, there's hundreds of car dealers here, right? But if I go to like Zephyr Hills, there's not so many. If I go up that way and find an auction there, I might be able to get better cars because there's less competition. Also, I'm driving a lot of places because I'm looking at cars online. I'm sourcing from a lot of different places. So again, that's a different way of doing it. And again, as your dollar amounts increase for the car, a lot less competition. How many people do you think go to an auction and you'll see the Lamborghini or the Bentley sitting there? How many people do you think went there to buy that car? Not that many. You see what I'm saying? I'm not talking about like a $30,000 Bentley, like a 06 or something like that. I'm talking about like a 2019, a 2017 even, or a Lambo. You're talking about $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 cars. How many dealers do you think went there on that particular day to buy that car? Maybe three? Three guys that probably never go to that auction showed up there because they want to buy that. So your competition is one of three or one of four, including yourself, at that level. You feel me? At that level. And it increases as you go lower, right? But now you're looking at like the $15,000, $20,000 cars, the $40,000, $50,000 cars, whatever. So that's another way to buy the car, okay? And you can still buy them with blown motors. You just have to go there and it's a lot less likely that they're going to be there, but you will find them. And you just continuously look, all right? So that's another way that you would source out cars. And for homework, you want to know what the check is for those cars, because that's what you're working on. So usually, and this isn't for everyone, they'll use the NADA book, and they'll use, I think it's clean trade-in is the value that they'll give you. So I'll tell you this, because I never remember, I just know the layout. So there's 4 categories from top to bottom. It's the third one. So it's 1, 2, 3. That number is what they're going to give you. What the banks are going to give you, plus your down payment for that car. All right. You'll want to know that number because when you are trying to sell that car, you want to know what the dealer can sell it for. Okay. A lot of the rest of this video is going to be selling to dealers, right? Because that's going to be more money probably than selling at the auction. And that's how you're making relationships. So that's another thing to know. Again, that's part of doing your homework, okay? You need to know these things, otherwise you don't know what to buy the car for. So that's, another way of doing it. My last video, I spoke about running ads. You can run ads. I will buy any car newer than 10 years old. What do you have? That's simple. People calling you up, most junk car buyers aren't spending that kind of money. Case in point, one of my friends ended up with a Mercedes similar to mine. I believe theirs was an 08, fully optioned out to the massaging seats. It had a problem with the suspension compressor. He got it for $3,500. They called him up. They said they wanted the car Gone. The guy was like, Mercedes just tried to get me for 6-7 grand. I just want it off my property. I'll take 3,500 for it. He said, I'll be there. He went there, handed the guy $3,500, no reason to negotiate. Took the car to Leroy. They did try to fix the compressor. They did try to fix the sensors. Turns out it didn't work, and they just swapped out the suspension altogether. He was in it for probably about 5 grand. Ended up selling it maybe a month later for 9 grand. Not a wholesale deal, but again, if you're running those ads, you could have just switched over to suspension right from Jump Street, but into that car for $4,500 and turned around and sent it out to everybody on your list for, let's just say, $6,500. The car was that nice. It had under 100,000 miles or just at 100,000 miles. The car is going to book out for about 10 to 12. And again, you're getting 65 for it. There's still a lot of money to be made for dealers. But again, that came from your ad, all right? So I think at this point, we've gone over how to get rid of the cars. I can't teach you education on the cars. That's going to be something you have to do on your own. And really, that comes from just watching the auctions and looking at what they're selling for in your area. Let's talk about, we kind of went over sourcing cars. And again, all of this comes down to how much money you have. And relationships, okay? You can go into any franchise dealership and ask to talk to the person that handles wholesaling cars. Chances are that individual takes all the cars and sells them or runs them at the auction now. It's a lot less headache, as where 10 years ago, wholesalers would come in and they would all do all this nonsense and try to buy the cars and cherry pick out all the good cars, right? So you can go in there and you can bring coffee and donuts. You could bring a nice little bottle of Johnny Black or whatever it is you like to drink. You can handle it a bunch of different ways. The problem with alcohol is if you find someone who's on the wagon, they might take offense to it, okay? Coffee and donuts, kind of lame, I know. But again, what you want to do is get this guy's card or get this woman's card, get to know them, and tell them, look, I'm a wholesaler. I'm looking to spend X amount of money. If you can do me right, I'll buy 10 cars from you guys a month, 10 cars a week, whatever your budget allows you to do. And that's what you would do. So that's, again, really, really, really good way of doing it. Another way is going down the list of impound yards. Find out who's got these cars for sale during the impounds. Same thing. Go in there, meet the owner, meet the secretary, right? Because usually the owners don't really have that much to do with it. But the person who does, the secretary, hey, what's up, XYZ? I brought you in some lunch today. I was at Chick-fil-A. I knew I was going to come and see you. I picked you up obviously a chicken sandwich, right? A chicken sandwich with some of their Polynesian sauce, whatever, here you go. I got you a milkshake. So now what you're doing is you're building a relationship with this individual. They know that they get gifted when you're around. So they're more inclined to call you and say, hey, we just picked up a 2015 Toyota Camry. The 30 days is expired. We got a title. We're looking to get 10 grand for it. Perfect. I'll be right there. You go there. This car MMR's out for about 15. It's going to retail for about 20. Again, all these are numbers I'm just throwing at you. So you're like, I'll take it. Now what you do is you buy it and you throw the secretary maybe $100. Hey, here's a little something for yourself. Go out to eat dinner or go buy yourself a little something, get your nails done, whatever. Here's $100. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. And now what you did is you reinforce that little Chick-fil-A sandwich. You reinforced it by $100 or $50 or whatever. Now she wants to call you. In her head or his head, every single time you're buying a car, you're throwing them a little something. Sure, if there's less of a markup, you maybe only throw them 20, 50. More of a markup, you throw them more money. But again, don't be afraid to grease some palms, okay? In this game, you want to be the one they call. The same thing I told you with my mechanic. I work out great deals with my mechanics, and I pay them what they pay, but I have no problem bringing my mechanics out with me to eat dinner and picking up the bill. As a matter of fact, Leroy's not even just my mechanic anymore. He's like family. But one of his favorite sandwiches, and again, you get to know people, right, is the Monte Cristo. My girl and I, we went out to eat, and I happened to see on the menu they had the Monte Cristo. I knew I had to meet up with him later on tonight, that night, to square up on some money. So I ordered the Monte Cristo. My girl was like, "Oh, what do why did you order that?" I was like, I'm taking it to Danny, to Danny to take care of this business. So then I'll see Leroy and I'll take care of this. This is his sandwich. Long story short, I go there, I give it to him, and he's like, "Oh man," like it meant like the world to him. You know what I'm saying? The other mechanics I'm using now, I haven't seen them for New Year's, but I text them for New Year's, and I was like, "Yo, man, Happy New Year," blah, 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 blah. Stupid little things like that build relationships. It makes people want to do stuff for you. If I was around during New Year's, I would have hit them all off with a bottle. And again, a bottle is only 20 to 50 bucks. You get a nice gift set, you know what I mean? And you put it in a bag and hand it to them. They remember that because not everyone that they're fixing cars for is doing that for them. And that carries over to the people you're buying cars from wholesale. Don't be afraid to spend that money because it's going to come back to you. And the ones that don't come back to you, don't do business with them, okay? So, in a nutshell, is there money with wholesale? Absolutely, there's money with wholesale. The issue is, can you handle wholesale? That's the truth. Do you have the bank account for it? Do you have the knowledge for it? And do you know what it takes to get it off? You see what I'm saying? Anyone could buy cars. Anyone could repair cars. Anyone could sell cars. But those people have worked at it. Okay? Myself included. When I came into the game, I told you the story. I bought a blown engine car thinking I was buying a perfect car. The dealer that ran those cars was so slick. Back in the day, he ran a 1999 300M that was gold. Then they had a blown engine. But what he did strategically was he ran a 2000 300M that was pearl white, beautiful car behind it. Okay? So, this is the gold one with a bad engine. It goes through the lane, people are bidding on it, and it pulls out. Now they have the white one parked in front of the auctioneer stand. I quickly look up to see what they're bidding on, and I see it says 1999 Chrysler 300. I look down, I'm looking at a 2000 Chrysler 300. Now, it doesn't say 2000 on it. It's the same body style. I don't look at the color or the mileage or anything really that's on the screen to tell me that this is not the car. I think that we're bidding on this white one. I'm going hard, because I know I can make money on this car. That dealer had someone in the lane bidding me up, okay? What does bidding me up mean? They had no intention of buying the car. They just wanted to see how high I would go. Being the rookie that I was, I kept going. Finally, they got to a point where they're just like, it's enough. We've made enough money. Do you know how much money they must have made on me for a dealer to be like, we've made enough? All right? I'm thinking I just stole that white car because I'm like, holy shit, there's still $3,000 left on that car. All right. I get my, the piece of paper from the auctioneer, and I go and I pay for the car. The auction ends. I go, I find the white car, the keys in it, I jump in it. I'm so happy. I'm like, man, I made the best move here. This car is beautiful. I'm going to make so much money on it. I get to the gate, and the guy's looking at my drive out, and he's looking at the car, and he's like, dude, this isn't the right car. The VINs aren't the same. I look at the drive out, and I look at the receipt. I'm like, gold. Gold. So I had to go put the car back. I find the gold one, turn it on. I'm like, lesson learned. Do you know I ended up not even taking the gold one? I forgot about that car for 6 months to a year at the auction. I just left it. I was so disgusted. I was like, I left it there. They ended up moving it to an auxiliary lot where dealers that forget their cars, that they put them. And at the time, they weren't charging us for that. Eventually, they called me and said, hey, we still have this car here. Do you want to give us a title and we'll sell it, or do you just want to sell it? So I ended up getting it. And by the time I ended up getting it, I was able to do a quick motor swap on it. Probably broke even. I know I didn't lose money. I know I didn't make that much money, but I know I did not lose, which is what's important here. But anyway, that comes from knowledge. My lack of knowledge at the time cost me money, or at least cost me time. But time is money. So anyways, guys, I took up enough of your time here today. Hopefully some of this knowledge will turn into money for you. Moral story is, yes, you could buy cars wholesale and make a lot of money as long as you are knowledgeable about what you're doing. With wholesale, the takeaway here is know what to spend on the car and know what you could sell it for. Because if you're going to sell it to dealers, you need to know what they could sell it for. You cannot sell it to a dealer for what they could sell it for because it's not worth it. Oh, well, hold on. The video's not over. Hold on. Pump your brakes, Junior. This just happened here in Tampa, Florida a week ago. Miranda Motors or something like that. You could Google it. They took in this lady's S-Class Mercedes. $45,000 is what she sold it to them for. She put it on consignment. Guys, I never ever use consignment. I don't give a damn if we have a contract written. I am not trying to go and get my lawyers involved. I'm not trying to go to court. I'm not trying to waste all that time with the dealership going out of business and reopening under a different name. Consignment as a wholesaler is something you're going to be up against. Let me tell you this right now. If the dealership wants to sell the car for you but doesn't have enough money to pay you for the car, don't do business with that dealership. Plain and simple. That's the way I look at it, okay? They're looking to bring your car on their lot so it looks better. They're looking to sell the car and make some free money because they've done nothing but put your car on their lot. And they didn't even give you any money. What can happen is they sell your car, collect the money, process the title, and you're SOL. Okay? Does it happen? It happens all the time. Dealers are scumbags. Dealers run into money trouble. Okay? What happens if they lose their floor plan and they owe a bunch of money? They come and repossess a bunch of cars. Yours are included. Good luck getting them back. End of story. They don't need the title. They're going to put liens on every single one of them. Slap, 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 slap. And they're going to get their titles in 30 days. End of story. Do not do consignment. This woman, it was her dad's car. He got up in age. He really wasn't driving at all anymore. She had someone driving him around or was driving him around, whatever the situation is. She did not want to go through the headache of selling the car. Miranda Motors, I do know them. They're here in Tampa, Florida. They usually have very nice cars on their lot. This particular Mercedes would have fit perfect with their inventory, okay? And it did. They put the car on their lot. They had the title. They sold the car for $45,000. The woman goes to get the money, and they're not giving her the money. She retains a lawyer. Once you retain a lawyer, the lawyer now not only sues for the cost of the vehicle, they also sue for the time that the lawyer is billing for. You don't pay for that. Usually, the lawyer will include that in the lawsuit. So now, a $45,000 car may turn into, for argument's sake, let's just say a $70,000 car, depending on how the lawyer is doing the billing. So now the dealership's like, look, we'll pay the $45,000. We're not paying for the lawyer fees. So now it's a big back and forth. The moral of the story is the woman's out $45K at this time. So even though you go and get this contract written up, understand that if the contract is written up for more than what you can take to small claims court, chances are you're going to have to retain a lawyer. Now that fee is just going to continue to rise. The dealer's not going to pay it. It's my opinion that you stay away from consignment deals with dealerships, with anybody, even if there's a contract written. Contracts are like promises. They're only comforting to a fool, okay? Cash is king. Here's another thing too that a lot of people don't know. A lot of people want to say, oh, well, if they write me a check and it bounces, it's fraud. That's true. Here's what you don't know. If I write you a check and stop payment on that check, it's not fraud. I just wasn't happy with whatever reason it is, and I stopped payment on that check. You see where the same outcome for the individual who got the check written to them has now changed. It went from the individual going to jail for fraud to that individual just saying, no, I stopped payment. I don't want to pay that. I don't want that. Whatever their reasoning is. They called their bank. They said check number 3047 to this individual. I want to stop payment on that. Okay, sir, that's a $35 fee. No problem. I'll pay the $35. Thank you. They now stop payment on that check. So even though you have a check and you think you're golden, if they stop payment, you're SOL again. You're right back in the same boat. If that check bounces, okay, now you could say fraud, right? Because they deliberately wrote you a check that couldn't clear. But even at that situation, you're talking about legality, right? So now you're calling the cops and they're getting involved to arrest this individual, but that's not putting the money in your pocket. So again, for consignment, my advice to you, stay away from it. Stay away from it. Do yourself the favor and stay away from it. Because even if the dealer says, hey, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll pay. What do you have into the car? Oh, I have $6,000 into the car. Well, I'll put the $6,000 in your pocket right now. So this way, at least your investment is covered, which means the profit is 50-50 for both of us, right? So you feel great because you got the $6,000. You're like, oh, perfect. I can put that $6,000 back out. I can start making money. And when the car sells, I get half the profit. But the problem is they now know what you spent on the car, right? So your biggest thing is never letting anyone know what you have into the vehicle. So if they know you have $6,000 into it, they feel fine not paying you because you got paid your investment. You see what I'm saying to you? Or if they sold it for $9, like, yo, here's $1,000. What? $1,000? You sold it for $9. You're supposed to be giving me, $1,500. Because $3,000 profit split by 2 is 15. Why am I getting this? You should be happy. You only spent $6 on it. I had to market it. I had to wash it. I had my guys showing it. And they'll have a laundry list of things that they've done to sell this car, which is all BS anyway, because no matter what, there's a person sitting at that chair showing every single car. All right? There's a person who's going to do paperwork. Like, all this stuff is already done. So don't do it, guys. Again, from the bottom of my heart, do not do consignment. It's just not worth it. Why would you take money out of your pocket, put it somewhere, and then give it to somebody else who does not have money invested to get half of the profit? Get your money out of it, get your profit out of it, let them worry about making their profit. Guys, I've taken enough time away from you today. I apologize, but the consignment part was super important, okay? That consignment BS is a no-fly zone. Get it out of here. We're done with that. Hopefully you guys don't fall for that. As always, guys, any questions, hit me up, email me. I'll hit you back with my phone number or vice versa. Call me, chop it up, hit the subscribe button, and go make some money. We're out of here. Later. Oh, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones. Don't ever forget that. And if you see someone who's not financially educated, do them a favor, drop some knowledge on them. Even if they're not listening, still try to plant a seed. Down the road, they will thank you for it. Now we're out.
That's my best friend.